Hello everyone and welcome back to a brand new video and welcome to round 4 of our F123 Lancia career mode. Yes, we're back this weekend here in Azerbaijan. I apologise that it's been a little while since the last video from this series. Of course, we've been very busy with our all-new F2 Ollie Bearman career mode. There are new series flying left, right and centre at the moment. But of course, if you missed out on the video that went live last weekend from the Australian Grand Prix, I would highly recommend going back and checking it out. But today, of course, we've got our first sprint weekend of the season. And we've actually got a little bit of money as well that we need to spend before we move into this weekend. Now, resource point generation, I think, is going to be one of the most essential things for the team, as well, of course, of potentially hopefully making Richard for sure a little bit better. That doesn't look like we've got the money to make any further improvements on the team. But of course, yeah, we're still down in last place overall in the Constructors' Championship. Drivers' table, we are behind Richard for sure as well. Only ahead of Logan Sargent at the moment there. And you can see vehicle performance-wise, we're just lacking a little bit at the moment, waiting for a few more upgrades to come onto the car. But of course, yeah, the battle from AlphaTauri backwards is looking incredibly tight as we head towards Azerbaijan. But yeah, obviously a very power-sensitive circuit. Hopefully is going to suit our Ferrari car. Let's get on with it. Well, what I'm probably going to do throughout most of the sprint weekends this season is obviously just not showcase free practice. We've got an awful lot to get through over the course of the weekend. Luckily, we haven't got sprint qualifying like we have inside F1, well, real life F1 2023, but yeah, obviously been a few days since I jumped in with the Lancia car, so we'll wait and see as to how we get on there. Got to be very careful of front locking here. We all know just how mysterious Baku can be. Very good track once again for the AI. First lap here in free practice has been a bit of a write-off, to be completely honest. I've moved the brake bias around a bit. I'll go for another one, but yeah, unfortunately in Baku, often the tyre wear is actually much worse than the AI, and lines like that are not going to do me any favours. I feel like this series is going to be a lot about perseverance, and hopefully we are going to learn one of those lessons very early on in the campaign. Still up at the purple score at the moment, but 3/4 of a second down on the Delta. Can we clutch it up before we get to the start-finish line? We're going to be mighty close. A 10th out, less than a 10th away. I would love to believe that Baku could be the track we make our first appearance in Q2 of the season, but honestly, I'm really not convinced here. The car seems to be down a little bit in performance relative to the most of the runners. I mean, as always, you know, the first goal is still beat Richard for sure, so I know we're up to pace against the 110 AI. But yeah, so difficult to try and nail a lap round here in a car that you're not completely confident in. I feel like I've put a lot of good work into the setup though here, but we'll wait and see. Our first lap has felt pretty tidy up to this point, but what is the time gonna be? Oh, just ran wide there somehow. Don't get the lap invalidated for that one. Not really sure how we got away with that, but through the final couple of corners we go though as we try and make a run back towards the start-finish line. I always say here in Baku it's horrible. You come out of that final corner and you just watch the clock tick by. You're completely powerless to it all. But up towards the line, it's going to be a 1:43.0. 9/10 off Richard after our first run there. And that felt pretty clean and tidy. Oh, Oscar Piastri's out. Lando Norris is also out. What's happened to the McLarens? Alex Albon out of the session as well. Oh, I think we've got a glitch there. Looks like a lot of cars out at the end of qualifying. So no idea what's happened. We've got a load of AI all together as well out on the circuit, but we've got to focus up then for my final run here. We need basically a second if we want to try and fight our way up the order, so we are really going to have to send it all the risk and hopefully all of the reward to go with it. Oh, I'm Charles Leclerc. I am stupid. I am stupid there. We were only a couple of tenths up at the moment. We may as well keep going for it as we just drop down under the Delta point there, but yeah, just try to tip it in for the castle a bit too quickly. It feels like a very quick corner inside F123. That was a nice line, though, down there. So there was definitely a few more tenths of a second in the car. We'll see how much we can gain if we keep this final corner tidy. Which, yeah, there was definitely another 2-3 tenths there as well. So I feel like had we absolutely nailed the lap, we could have probably been down around the same time as Richard Vashora set. But yeah, the 110 AI around here are absolutely nuts. So you can still see gaining time all the way up towards the start-finish line. It is going to be a 3/10 improvement, but it is last place on the grid for the second weekend in a row. There we go, Charles Leclerc fastest. Hamilton with a 15-place grid penalty, though. So no idea what's happened to Lewis at the end of qualifying. Oscar Piastri with a penalty as well there. So something clearly must have happened between quite a few of those runners. I mean, look at that. 9 cars effectively out in Q1 because Piastri, Ricciardo and Albon have all retired as well from the session for whatever reason. But we are going to be lining up last place then on the grid, ready for the sprint race. We have got to hope for a bit of a miracle.
Forget pit stops, forget fuel management. It's pedal to the metal all the way here as we get ready for today's sprint. Off the back of a fantastic qualifying session, it's time to see how our starting grid looks for today's sprint. An immense lap from Carlos Sainz yesterday puts him in pole position, and it's Charles Leclerc in P2. Moving on to the rest of the grid, we have Verstappen, Hamilton, Perez, Russell, Fernando Alonso, Bottas, Magnussen, Stroll, Tsunoda, Hülkenberg, Joe, Oscar Piastri, Norris, Albon, Ocon, Ricciardo, Gasly, Sargent, Richard Vashora and Firestarter. Which of these drivers will get pole position today? We'll soon find out.
Well, here we are then, trackside for the Azerbaijan GP sprint race. 9 laps ahead of us before we get into the Grand Prix itself tomorrow. And we're going to have to go gambling then. We're going to have to start this thing on a set of the soft compound tyres there. Even if we just get a VSC or a safety car just to help us out with the tyre life. It might not be a wise choice, but we've just got to do something here to have a fighting chance. Ready then on the grid though, waiting upon those 5 red lights here in Baku. And it is going to be a mighty long hold, but lights out, and away we go there. Ocon and Gasly both out in Q1 yesterday, struggling to put the power down as we head in towards turn 1, and we've got to send it down the inside in towards that first corner there. Up to P16 we'll go then. So a mighty little start there, found the opening down the inside, and is that going to build us up a little bit of confidence there, side by side with Albon. A little bit of contact between the 2 McLaren cars as well off of the corner, but yeah, saving the tyres as well today is going to be absolutely critical here because we know they'll probably turn to jelly by the end of this sprint race there as well. You can just see again Piastri and Lando Norris obviously rocking. Ugh! We're going to get tagged from behind there. I think that was Albon going into the back of me as Piastri will send it around the outside of his teammate. We're going to have a look down the inside of our fellow Brit as Lando Norris clearly doesn't spot us there. It's all getting a little bit close for comfort as somehow we switch him off of the corner. But we are now up into P14 then, as looking at the front of the field, I believe Max Verstappen has jumped his way all the way to the lead there. What's happened to Ferrari? Both cars having a nightmare start, just like they did in Bahrain. Well, let's have a look then at these Ferrari starts here to see how they both ended up behind Max Verstappen then. You can see Sainz with a lot of revs and then suddenly just bails out at the last second. So Verstappen is going to be able to cut through the middle there. Charles Leclerc not getting a particularly good getaway either. He's going to bang wheels with Lewis Hamilton through the first corner. And are we going to see Hamilton get around the outside down at turn 2 there? You can see Charles Leclerc, yeah, ricochets over that curbing again. And Verstappen and Hamilton will say thank you very much there. Ferrari with a nightmare start. I just want to enjoy this then from the white Red Bull of Max Verstappen. 5 red lights. You can see he also drops the revs slightly but builds them back up again before we go. And yep, Sainz just going nowhere. So he will find that avenue down the middle, and by the time he's made it to turn 1, the Dutchman into the lead of the Grand Prix. We go then, both Ferraris clearly, yep, not exactly what they would have wanted down at the first couple of turns, but Verstappen will say thank you very much. Of course, we're still yet to get a repeat winner this season. Not too sure whether we're going to classify sprint races as being part of that or not, but yeah, Oscar Piastri little way in front of me at the moment. You can see weaving around trying to get a run on Nico Hülkenberg, because we're going to be under pressure from Lando Norris. And look at that, not able to break 200 miles an hour as we get back down in towards someone there. Slap the wall for good measure as well on the inside. Lucky not to pick up any damage from that. We've really just got to try and make sure today that we are capitalising on cars battling around me there. Verstappen still leading the way at the front of the field. Lando Norris, though, now trying to look past Tsunoda and Hülkenberg as we make our way back in towards turn 1. Oh, there is some contact there by the looks of it, as Tsunoda will get forced out. And I think Lando's pulled off a double overtake in the process there, but surely we can try and keep up with the AlphaTauri car as Hülkenberg just gets a little bit loose and lively at the first turn. He's now going to be under pressure from Yuki Tsunoda once again. They're 3 wide in front of me as we make our way down in towards the next corner. Lando Norris turns in. Yuki Tsunoda somehow doesn't hit the wall there. Are we going to be able to try and capitalise on this as we'll get down the inside of Hülkenberg in towards the next corner, put the power down off of the turn. We should still have a slight grip advantage on these softs as we'll swoop round the outside. There will be the inside for the next corner, and we are up and through and into P14. Right, come on then, Yuki Tsunoda. Let's see if we can try and get a run on the AlphaTauri car out of the final couple of turns. I'm more interested in trying to save a little bit of battery at the moment. We're only at 1/3 distance, and I already feel like I've used most of the charge. Zhou Guanyu behind me as well, making a move on Nico Hülkenberg. But down the inside of Yuki will go. Oh, very, very deep. Oh, no. I've slapped the wall on the exit of the corner. No, 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 no. And that's going to put us in a world of hurt throughout the rest of this race. What are we going to be able to do there? As you can see, Yuki now with the DRS off of the corner. We're going to have to force him down towards the inside wall, braking at the 100 there as well. Yuki Tsunoda again just gets a little bit upset on the exit of the turn. But now we are going to have to watch our mirrors even more. Oh, this time around we're certainly going to be under pressure through the final couple of corners. Just trying to make sure that we don't slap the wall, get on the battery as best as we can. But 4 more laps to go. And you can see Tsunoda gets all over my rear wing. He's not really going to be able to get much of a run then. We'll still be on the inside as we head back down in towards turn 1. We've got to be very, very careful on these tyres though, but we are going to have to be uber aggressive late on in the day. Zhou Guanyu now will be next in line there as Hülkenberg and Tsunoda going side by side just behind. Any sense of freedom we are going to take. I'm so worried that if we lose a spot, we're going to start losing them very, very quickly towards the end of this race. Zhou Guanyu now all over my gearbox again. Again, we'll try and force the AI to the outside, but using a lot of battery at the moment. Oh, no, we locked up slightly. I'm so sorry, Zhou. We'll give him the room on the exit. Oh, here comes Zhou Guanyu again, gaining really, really quickly this time round. Oh, he's looked for an opportunity around the outside at turn 1. It was never really there. I don't think I'd left a car's width on the outside for him, but 2 laps to go. I must admit, I'm actually staggered by how well these tyres have hung on today. Clearly, this Lancia car actually much better on its tyres than I'd ever imagined. Oh no, I've missed it. Nico Hülkenberg now up into P14, and that Haas car is definitely a little bit quicker here as we round our way to start the final lap. Verstappen looks set after that emphatic race victory at the start of the year in Bahrain to finally cross the checkered flag first again. There is Hülkenberg. Oh, I was not expecting him to try and have a look in that gap out of the final corner. We'll keep draining battery up towards the start-finish line there as the Hulk is going to look to the outside of me. Can we just keep the nose there again at turn 1? Nico just forced out once again, and I think the idea of heading towards that outside wall is just too scary for the AI there. I think Zhou Guanyu's dived him again off of turn 1, and look at the gap suddenly jump up. We've got a couple of seconds now to just breathe around the lap to try and save the battery as best as we can, and just then use all of that charge in towards the final corners. Tyre life is gone. The tyres are dead at the moment. We are hanging on by a thread. Max Verstappen, though, makes his way through the final couple of corners then of the Azerbaijan GP sprint race, and will become our first sprint race winner of the 2023 season. Ferrari, though, certainly have given them a run for their money today. Might not have had the start they would have wanted, but Ferrari, yeah, definitely in the fight this weekend. It is Verstappen, though, that takes home the dub. We've still... No! What is Hulk doing? It's Zhou Guanyu, sorry. He's just sent it around my outside there and pushed us both down in towards the wall. And now we've got no rear wing, sorry, no front wing as we head in towards the final corners. Hulkenberg's out of the GP in all of the confusion and chaos, but through the final corner. Right, use the battery. Go! 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 We can't afford to lose the spot to Zhou Guanyu here on the run up towards the line. It's chaos in the sprint, but we are just about going to hang on, and it's P13.
And now let's take a look at the driver's standings. Max Verstappen should be pleased with his performance, making gains at the top of the table. Well, that wraps up the sprint. All that remains is the main event. We'll be live and uninterrupted for the Grand Prix tomorrow, so make sure you join us then.
Well, there we are then. Sprint race Saturday done and dusted here in Baku, and the top three on the grid find themselves the top three on the podium, just all in the opposite order there. Perez P4 ahead of both Mercs and both Aston Martins, rounding out our point scorers there. But 22nd to P13, it was probably the most offensive drive I've ever had to do in an F1 game, but that was really, really good fun come the checkered flag there. Will give us a good starting position ready for the main event. Of course, we've got those penalties for Oscar Piastri and Lewis Hamilton as well. We might be starting inside the top 10 here. Let's do this thing.
And a warm welcome to you from Azadlik Square, heart of Baku, and home, of course, to the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. With high speeds, tight corners and few runoff zones, many are expecting a safety car here today. So our drivers will have to stay very much on their toes and hopefully out of the barriers. With 20 turns and a length of 3.7 miles, Baku City Circuit in the heart of the Azerbaijan capital is a real test of a driver's endurance, patience and precision. 90-degree corners through Sector 1 lead into a tightening uphill sprint as we start to circle around the old city. Then a 1.4-mile chase flat out through Sector 3 towards the finish line. So with the race not far away from starting, here's what today's grid rundown looks like. Max Verstappen put in a fantastic lap yesterday, and he'll start from pole position, with Charles Leclerc alongside. Looking at the rest of today's grid, we have Sainz, Perez, Russell, Fernando Alonso, Stroll, Norris, Magnussen, Bottas, Firestarter, Joe, Oscar Piastri, Gasly, Tsunoda, Ocon, Ricciardo, Sargent, Richard Verschoor, Albon, Hulkenberg, and Lewis Hamilton rounds off the grid. It's almost time for those 5 red lights to go out then. Let's see who can prevail today.
Well, here we are then. Back again in Baku. And yeah, Oscar Piastri and Lewis Hamilton with those grid penalties means we have been bumped up to P11 on the grid then. I'm really hoping we got a chance to fight for some points today. But, you know, we'll wait and see as to how we get on and see what we can do later in the GP there. 26 laps ahead of us. We're going to do mediums to hards today. A little bit of a step in the unknown, of course, on those mediums to kickstart things. But hopefully we keep it clean, we keep it tidy, and we walk away with a good result. Well, plenty of drivers then just in front of me on the soft compounded tyres. 5 red lights though. And it's going to be lights out and away we go. Pretty clean, tidy start as we head down in towards turn 1. Magnussen there getting a little bit caught out by Lance Stroll, but Zhou Guanyu tries to get up the inside and we're just left with nowhere to go through turn 1 though. We will try and switch Zhou out of the first corner, down the inside of Magnussen as well. A little bit of front lock in there, but we get the car clean and tidy through turn 2 as we make our way though down the hill. Looks like Ferrari actually have retaken the lead of the Grand Prix there. Oh, Magnussen giving me no room at all to manoeuvre down in towards turn 3 then. Clearly the Dane, of course, racing just as you expect from Kevin Magnussen in real life there. But we do make it back through. We are now up then into P10 and into the final points paying position early on in this race. Of course, it's still only us and AlphaTauri that are yet to score points early on this season. Quite staggering, isn't it? 9 teams have scored points in the opening 3 GPs, but hopefully every single team will get a point on the board throughout this season. As you know, just see Stroll at the road there struggling a little bit, as well as he believe that's Lando Norris, isn't it? Just in front of him. So yeah, Aston Martin Definitely haven't quite got the pace of the big teams early on this season. McLaren, though, certainly should, but had a bit of a nightmare, of course, in Friday night qualifying, but looks to have been a fairly unchaotic start then. Let's just have a look, see if anything of note happened. Well, it feels like there's a bit of a curse then inside F123. Max Verstappen starting on pole this time round, and clearly is not going to get away to a particularly good start there. Charles Leclerc will almost say thank you very much then. You can see as he just pops into shot there on the inside. Nice slide through turn 1. But Charlie boy, despite starting this thing on a set of the harder compounded tyres against Max Verstappen, still will say thank you very much and will take the lead out of turn 2. Here we go, Kevin Magnussen again. Just seeing that Haas car fly past us as we make our way back in towards turn 1, but you never know whether they're going to be 2 stopping today. Here comes Zhou Guanyu again, back to the outside in towards turn 1. And just like yesterday, we're going to make it as difficult as we can for the Alfa Romeo. We're going to try and stick with K-Mag as best as possible, though. If we can stay in his DRS range, then maybe we'll have a good chance later on in the day. But yeah, Ferrari and Red Bull definitely seem to be head and shoulders above the rest of the field this weekend. Not really convinced I'll be able to keep Oscar Piastri at bay all day anyway, so we may as well let him by and try to see if we can hang on to the coattails. Already seen Magnussen 2 seconds up the road. But yeah, hopefully Oscar, I don't know why he's gone so defensive into turn 1. Oscar Piastri, drag me to the points. Oh, yellows. Someone's got issues. I believe that might be Bottas. Bottas in front of me after a mega points run last weekend. Valtteri Bottas looks to be out of the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. So you can just see a lot of Constantina and up though. And yep, Bottas, Ferrari power unit up in smoke. Go then, Valtteri Bottas, as we make our way out onto the back straight, following that Aston Martin car just in front of him. And as he makes his way into 8th gear, Power just shuts off then on the car there. Heartbreak for the Finn as he just about stays out of the way of the Haas car and look round his outside there. And yeah, even gets a little bit of a fight back again from the car, but realises that is critical. And that is yet another Ferrari power unit gone up in smoke. Oh, we've got more yellows. Someone else with issues. We've got a safety car. What's happened then? Oh, there's been a roadblock, a red flag. What on earth has gone on here? Zhou Guanyu, I think behind me's binned it. Well, let's have a look then. What did Zhou Guanyu do here in the race? You can see myself just a couple of cars up in front. We actually get a nice double rear lockup into this next corner. But Zhou Guanyu just loops it. Oh, he drops it on the wall. Actually loses a wheel in the process there and causes a roadblock. Nowhere for anyone else to go. But somehow, he actually gets to restart the race despite this. But team now recommending a set of the hard compound tyres. They might potentially be able to get us to the end of the GP there. We might have to bolt on a set of softs just in case towards the end. But yeah, big shake-up then this afternoon. And we are going to try and start then on those hards. It looks like a lot of cars around me thinking the same way. 5 red lights again. It's going to be lights out and away we go there, or not if you're Oscar Piastri, straight back past the McLaren as we make our way in towards turn 1, and we'll try and do what we did on Saturday as well. Oh, a little bit of contact there. Stroll and Magnussen, not 2 of the best drivers wheel to wheel, at least not known for it. So not too surprising that there was some contact, as Stroll again will get caught out down the inside of the Dane. We're going to be drag racing with that Aston Martin Honda as we make our way down in towards turn 4. So we've got someone down my outside as well. That is Esteban Ocon. Oh, this is all getting a little bit scrappy off the restart. And as they always say in Formula 1, safety cars and red flags just breed more safety cars and red flags there. But we're up inside the top 10. But I want to try and hang close to these cars as best as possible. Everyone that's started on the softs has been given a bit of a lifeline and all. This is Logan Sargent. Where's he come from? Suddenly up then battling for the top 10 as well there. And of course, one of the only other drivers yet to score points. We've got to keep him at bay for now. Yeah, not really sure we're going to be able to keep Logan at bay at the moment, as he is absolutely flying. Here goes Ocon as well. And we are just getting hounded by these soft compound runners as we make our way back in towards turn 1. Just going to have to sit back, I think, behind the pair of them. Might be able to try and switch Sargent off of the corner. Gotta be so careful. I mean, I want to see these guys keeping up with the front runners here early on, as Ocon will trip over behind the Williams once again. So we'll go clean back around the outside there. 3 wide up in front. That could get a little bit messy. We just try and sit in. There goes Oscar Piastri this time round in the McLaren car again. It's just happening thick and fast at the moment, as there's battles going on everywhere off this restart in Baku. But we do hang on ahead of Oscar. And yeah, I think Magnussen has made it to the front of that train, as George Russell really struggling. Here comes Piastri again, though, as we start lap 9. That McLaren car again, we're just not quick enough to match Oscar Piastri at this stage of the day. But you know, I really am wondering whether the hard compound tyres could go the distance, could get through to the checkered flag here, because that could really open up quite a good strategy if all of the AI are forced into boxing. But DRS now re-enabled. Just want to kind of sit in for a couple of laps and assess the situation. I think already it's only taken 5-6 laps, but the soft compound runners starting to struggle against the hards there. Ocon and Gasly nowhere near as close this time round at the final couple of corners as they once were. I think Piastri is going to try and line up a move on Logan Sargent as we make our way back towards turn 1 there. But I think Magnussen is having to try and defend from the pair of them in towards that first corner. So it is all kicking off at the moment. Piastri can go nowhere on the exit of turn 1. He's going to have to continue to watch the soft compound runners duke it out. Logan Sargent into the lofty heights of P9 as we make our way out onto the back straight here. And so much chaos. And we're not even halfway through yet here in Baku. But can Piastri now complete the move down the inside? Oh, give him a little bit of a push there, try and help him through. And we will then go down the inside of Magnussen as well at the very next corner. We've got to try and stick with Oscar as best as possible. As Ocon, I think, yeah, Magnussen's lost 4 places in half a lap for a change. But Piastri gaining. But that Williams is so quick in a straight line. Oh, he's not quick when he does that, though. Sargent a bit of a lock-up at turn 1. And that's going to mean I keep the DRS. Surely, though, the Australian going to try and have a look past him in through the next couple of corners. And we've got to be there, ready to capitalise. I mean, yeah, those soft compound tyres, obviously we found out the hard way yesterday just how difficult they are to try and keep going. Oscar Piastri, though, around the outside. Hopefully we can follow him again. And we might be back into the points then of this race. Down the inside of Logan Sargent will go. And back to P10. More yellows. Someone else in front. It's a Red Bull. Is that Max Verstappen out of the Azerbaijan Grand Prix here? Red Bull have had an absolute stinker, irrespective of which of their cars it is. No, it's Sergio Perez, though. Still a big disappointment for them, as Checo Perez, that engine goes up in smoke. Second mechanical failure of the day, and this time around it's for one of the big hitters. There we are, Sergio Perez then, winner, of course, of the real-life Azerbaijan Grand Prix this year, and in that white Red Bull as well. In fact, his last win to date, don't forget. But that is a nightmare scenario for Honda and Red Bull there as he makes his way through the final couple of corners. A very, very expensive cloud of smoke there, and it just billows out of the back of that Red Bull. Not what they needed today, and now Verstappen is going to have to try and fight the front two by himself. Lando Norris then the first to blink after the red flag. McLaren car into the pits then and onto another set of the softs. That's quite a brave strategy. 10 laps to the end of the race. McLaren is going to be mighty fast, but those tyres are surely going to hit the cliff, and that makes me a little bit nervous about what some of the other soft compound runners are going to attempt to be towards the end of this race. We're pulling away nicely from most of them after about 7 or 8 laps, but yeah, I'm kind of there like, our tyres are going to not be in particularly great shape by the end of this. Everything's looking good for now, Mark, yes, but they're going to be pretty worn out by the end of the afternoon. Here we go. This could be critical for Max Verstappen then into the pit lane alongside Fernando Alonso here. So the AI, very, very desperate to undercut each other, and it's kind of what I'm keeping a watchful eye out. Logan Sargent, yeah, might be able to apply some pressure to me once he, obviously I've boxed. Richard Vishaw in.
Richard is in the pit lane now.
End of lap 18 though, we are going to dive into the box now. Intrigued to see though what happens with Verstappen here, as it looks like he'll definitely have a jump on one of those Ferraris. Other ones still yet to pit, but they're not very far in front there, so I've got to be careful in pit entry. Come on, get it slowed down. There we go. Quite nice and tidy in the end. Yeah, that other Ferrari car, I reckon Verstappen's done this. I reckon he's got the jump on Ferrari here. His tyres are going to be wrecked by the end of this thing. But are we going to get a clean, tidy pit stop as well? Just wait and see. Come on, go, 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 go. And we've lost a couple of spots to other cars. And we're going to actually be out behind Lewis Hamilton then, so we've definitely been undercut. But we've just got to hope that all these AI that obviously boxed early, their tyres really hit the cliff by the end, because ours should be okay. Oh no, Alex Albon. I had no idea the Williams was in my wheel tracks as we come towards lap 20. Nico Hulkenberg in the pit lane then, so we're not actually going to lose a net position in all of that. But yeah, Ocon on a set of hards. I want to believe Gasly might be on the same strat, but are we going to get robbed of points late on here by virtue of the AI going for some ballsy strategy choices? Here we go. Albon to the outside of Esteban Ocon, back on the run into turn 1. Which for sure certainly had a race to forget by the sounds of it. But yeah, Albon has sailed around the outside of Ocon here. We've got to try and get past the Frenchman as well then off of turn 2. We need to try and hang with Albon. I feel like he's going to be in that battle for the final point today. Logan Sargent, his teammate, I think still in front of him. Just got that little bit of extra grip over the Alpine, still on that brakes. Sargent is struggling. Sargent is really struggling at the moment, and Alex Albon is stuck behind him. We've got to try and get the pair of them, because I feel like Ocon... sorry, no, it's Gasly, isn't it, in that other Alpine? He might be on a set of hard, so I'm really living in hopium at the moment. So try and get down the inside of Albon, down the little back chute. Get down the inside, get the car on the curbing. Beautiful. Done and dusted. P12 once again. Now to get Sargent down the front straight with a bit of luck. I think we're likely to get confirmation as well here about what tyres Ocon is on. If he's on softs, I think we've probably actually got a better chance than if he's on hards there. To the inside, though, of Logan Sargent. And sorry, Gasly, isn't it? Of course. He's on a set of the hards, so if he can stay in the range of Lewis, we've got no chance. If he can, it is game on in the final few laps here. Careful not to hit the wall. Come on, we can do this. Gasly is really, really struggling at the moment. He's trying to work those hard tyres, I think, just a bit too much. But with 2 laps to go here, we are now going to be inside the DRS range of Pierre. Albon, though, he's not out of it just yet. He's still stacked behind me, less than 2 seconds away, and now he's dispatched of his teammate. He is still looking racy here, but we know we'll be able to gain a bit of free time down the front straight. We'll also hopefully be able to gain a bit down after turn 2 as well. We've got to save the DRS, though. It's going to have to be 1 lap push right at the end. That was scary. Come on, don't drop now out of the range from Pierre. Big rear lock-up down in towards the final couple of corners, and now we've got to use some battery just to try and make sure we're back in the range. 1 lap to go here from Baku, and we are back under the 1 second. But now we've got to start being a bit more methodical, being a bit strategic here, seeing what we can do to make sure that we can get this run past Pierre. Latcher, remember, haven't scored a point since about 1952. This has potentially been 70 years in the waiting. But as we start the final lap here in Baku, come on, Gasly's tyres just seem to be doing enough at the moment. And our tyres just starting to hit the cliff as well. We need to try and make sure we're close to him. We need to be able to get a run down the back straight, but we've got to be super careful on the throttle through this middle sector. There's time to be had, but time that can easily be lost. Rears are sliding around so much on this final lap. I'm not sure we're going to do it. Charles Leclerc, back-to-back race winner then this season. And Ferrari are going to stand on the top step of the podium for the 2nd time in a row. But I think Gasly might just have had enough. I think these tyres have hit the cliff on the very last lap of the Azerbaijan Grand Prix there. My only hope now is that maybe Gasly runs out of fuel or starts having a save on the run up towards the line, but through the final couple of corners, it is agonising here in Baku. It has been by far and away our best result of the year, but it's not going to be enough. It's P11 in Azerbaijan. Boy, oh boy, does that hurt a lot.
And here we are, a team that is no stranger to the podium, taking their place on top once again. A sublime race today and a stunning win for Ferrari. So then, it's time to see how this result affects the Drivers' Championship. Max Verstappen should be pleased with his performance, making gains at the top of the table. So, Anthony Davidson, who would you rank as your driver of the day?
Well, my driver of the day has to be Charles Leclerc. He was unstoppable out on the track today, weaving through the competition with ease.
Let's move on to the Constructors. No change in the top spot then, but with today's points, their hold on that lead is getting weaker. And with that, we wrap up another weekend of motorsport action. But with more races lined up, be sure to join us when we come back with more Formula One.
Well, there we are then, the end of the Azerbaijan GP, and Charles Leclerc takes victory here in Baku. 4 seconds ahead of Max Verstappen. Carlos Sainz there in P3. Ahead of Fernando Alonso. Mega drive by the Aston Martin driver. Beats out Lando, Norris, George Russell there. Piastri, Stroll, Hamilton, and Pierre Gasly. Damn it, man. Rounds out the points finishers today. It's P11 though for us. Sergio Perez, Guan Yu Zhou, and Valtteri Bottas all not making it through to the checkered flag, and I've got no idea what Vershaw did to pick up a 5-second penalty, but he finished last either way there. It does mean championship-wise though, Verstappen now, his gap at the top cut down to 17 points. Tied between Perez and Sainz though in P3, just ahead of Russell. Hamilton still a nightmare season continues down in 9th place there. But yeah, I mean, we do jump up to P16, best of the non-points finishers by virtue of that 11th place there. So it looks a bit better in the Drivers' Championship, and Constructors-wise, we do jump AlphaTauri as well. We just need 1 point, or, 3 points would be nice, to be all the way up in P7 there. Aston Martin, McLaren tied for P4, but Mercedes very much in no man's land. But thank you all so much for watching this video. If you have enjoyed, please do make sure to leave a like, get yourself subscribed, and we'll be back very, very soon when Formula One returns to Miami. Points, I'm hoping, will be possible there. A massive thank you to all of my YouTube members and my Patreon supporters for their continued donations to help my work. These things go much further than I think a lot of you ever realise, and allow me to continue making content full-time here on YouTube. So if you want to support me from as little as £1 a month and be featured on all of these end clips, either click the join button next to the subscribe or head over to my Patreon. There's a link down in the description.